Hush, my rose, still, and look at the moon tonight. Do you see the shadows there? This world is full of twisty frights and spooks who love to scare. Feel how the wind blows through your bones. See the treetops shake and shiver. Just like the wind, we take to flight and make the groan and quiver. There is magic inside of you. Hush, my rose, still, and watch as they fly away with the moonlight on their wings. You'll join their merry haunt someday. Hear how they howl and sing. There is magic inside of you. Light on your feet, past windows you creep. Follow the cat as black as ink. One step ahead while they're tucked in bed. You'll find secrets dark and secrets deep. Loo, 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 la, 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 loo, la, la, loo, loo, loo. There is magic inside of you. There is magic inside of you.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Mystic Moon Cafe. We are your hostesses with the mostesses, or the ghostesses. I'm June, and then we have the amazing Wendy. Hello, Wendy.
Hello, June.
Hey.
I'm
So how's
glad
it
you
going?
could make it.
Yes, I'm glad I could make it too. I was like 5 minutes to spare, and I got here. It's like, whew, my pin curls were just, my pin curlers, or what am I, bobby pins, that's it. We're flying in the air, and I made it.
Yay!
So how's the weather down there in I was going to say in Midwestern land, in Kansas City.
It is. It can't decide if it wants to rain, sleet, or snow, so it does all of it. And
I remember those days, Kansas City days. Yeah.
Hovering just above freezing, so that's good. But it was getting slick when I was bringing in some groceries. I was like, woo!
Glad you made it home.
Yep.
Yeah, made it home before it got too bad. Whew, I tell you. Yeah, right now it's just raining out there, so it's the temperatures are in the upper 40s for I think the rest of the forecast for the 10-day forecast. So it looks like it's just going to be in the 40s and rain. So woohoo!
Sloppy.
Yeah, I don't mind that so much. Just when it's plummets in the 20s and below zero, like some places are getting right now.
True. Yes.
Yeah. So we're pretty lucky out here in Seattle. It just usually kind of rains. And when it does snow, it's Armageddon. Snowmageddon.
Snowmageddon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate
course,
when those happen.
Yeah, I was like shut in last year for 7 days because I couldn't get up and down my hill that I live on. So yeah, I was one of those people. I was like, oh man.
I remember that kind of.
Mm-hmm. But when I used to live in West Seattle, I lived right above a Safeway. So that was really nice when it snowed, 2 feet. I could just make my way down to the elevator to Safeway and I wouldn't, die.
That's good. I love the apps these days where I can order all of my groceries, online. Call them, text them when I get there. They come out, put it in my car. Yeehaw, that's nice.
That's even better. Yeah, so many things like that now. Starbucks, I can call ahead, just go and pick it up. It's like, I love this. I love it. Yeah. Walmart, Target, it's like, oh, this is amazing.
It really, really is. And they won't even take tips. So it's like, it's done. You're covered.
Yeah. I'm just one of these people that just, I really do hate shopping. In person. Now, online shopping, I could be the queen of online shopping, but, yes, Vincent.
Yes, Vincent,
Yes. He knows my shopping habits, too.
He does, and mine as well.
So
Since I've been making just a tad more money here recently, I got that really nice tip last week, and so been able to kind of restock because I was really getting low on a whole lot of things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So yeah, Groupon and Amazon Prime are my friend at this point.
Yeah, I bet so. I understand that. Believe me. But how has the rest of your week been?
Well, I had another dog sitting gig all weekend and got back Monday night. And, it was good. I've got the 2 dogs, the cat, and the bearded dragon.
That's pretty awesome. Aw, it was so cute. Bearded dragon.
He was grounded, though, because he had been using his tree thing that he climbs. He was using it kind of like a wave and a surfboard. And he was tipping it all the time and jumping off, and he sprained his leg.
Oh,
I know, right?
Little guy. Just put him in a little splint and all that stuff. Little popsicle with popsicle stick, little bandages.
Well, his mama is taking care of it, taking him to the vet and stuff. So I thought, there's a vet for these things, but hey, I'm not judging. I'm just going. This is just weird. This is not my forte or my forte.
Oh yes, I can imagine. And yes, the hospital I work for has declared a strike for the nurses. So it is, now it's common knowledge, everything. So next week is going to be a little challenging. I'm not union, so I get to, kind of help out where I can. And, the patients are our number one priority, just to make sure they're okay and they're not in any, danger because of, low staffing or anything like this. So we're going to be, helping a lot with that. So I'm going to have lots of work hours next week. So, yes. And I get to kind of help out around the hospital, things I don't usually get to help with, but it's going to be a lot of long hours. So so I'm gearing up. I'm psyching myself up for it. So all next week I'm going to be probably just living at work almost. So it'll be very interesting experience. And I'm kind of I'm on both sides of both sides. I'm wishing everybody the best and hopefully there's some good outcomes from this. So
absolutely, yeah. And nurses are so underpaid and underappreciated and overworked. It's so sad.
It is. So, So anyway, that's my fun. But, I did watch a movie last night.
You did? What did you watch, June?
I don't know if you know, but I have this kind of a bit of obsession about found footage movies or point of view movies, where they find the camera and the people are usually missing. Sometimes they're not missing, and that's more of a point of view where they looks like they just have basically they just have handheld cameras and things like that and go. This one was Japanese. And I think it was called Noroi, Noroi, I think it was. But it was one of those movies where the very first part of it, I was like questioning if it was actually not a movie per se. I'm saying that in air quotes.
Right.
Or if it, was a real documentary. Because it was like the first half of it maybe, because, in Japan, they also have some of these, it's not really a game show, but it is a program where like 3 renowned psychics or 3 renowned people who deal with the paranormal watch videos to kind of give their opinion if the videos are real or not. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a game show there. Well, they were using people in the movie as the contestants on the show. Now, I know the show is real, but then I was like, maybe they're really showing footage of, this TV show. And yes,
Should I silence him?
He might laugh at some good points.
That's true. Well, he usually does. Right on cue.
So it's like even better.
It's almost frightening. Yes.
It was really an interesting movie until they got to this one part in the woods. I'm not gonna do a spoiler if anybody wants to watch it, but I think it was on Amazon. I don't think it was on Prime, but I think it was just maybe it was on Shudder. But it was really interesting, and it actually gave me goosebumps a couple of times. And that really is hard. That doesn't usually happen to me. So anyway, it was a very interesting movie, except for this one part in the woods, which was really stupid. And I think when people see it, they will know what I'm talking about. So, but I just have to say, it was a little disturbing at first. So, if anybody would like to see it and has seen it, you can message me and we can discuss it.
There you go. Now, I watched was it the Blackwell?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that one.
Oh my God!
I was pretty sure I'd seen it before, actually. Now, it was, it was a little intense, but it wasn't frightening. Now, there's a new one that I watched over the weekend, and it was more like Blackmore or Boswell or another of those. Another one of those one. Yes, yeah. It was another B one, and it was on Amazon Prime.
Oh, was it the alien one?
No, it was up by just outside of Flint, Michigan, I think, or it might have been in Detroit, but I wasn't real sure the whole time I was watching it. But it was an old plantation house that the people had rescued.
Yes, and the one girl's grandma warned the girl not to go. This is African American woman. Okay, never mind.
Maybe
at the very beginning, she warned her not to go. She's really, she's really pretty, and she warned her not to go. And of course,
she went.
Did one of them get possessed?
The little girl wakes up and she's basically maybe possessed, and she gets past the alarm system and almost out to the road before her mom catches her.
Nope, that's not it.
Okay. Well, this might be one you haven't seen then, June, but that one just gave
amazing.
Me the creeps.
I'm going to have to try and look and see. What was it called? Or do you know it's like Boswell or Roswell?
I will find it.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Let you know. But I'm at this house with these dogs and the lizard and the cat and the cat keeps looking at something over my head and
you're like, stop it.
Being a cat. He was just being a jerk because he he's on a diet, and I enforced it because he was, he needed it. But
probably not happy with you.
No, not in the least. Loud meows.
You're killing me. I'm dying.
Exactly. Yes.
I see the bottom of my bowl, even though there's food all around it.
Exactly.
Oh yes, my cat Jinx used to be like that.
Oh.
And I used to just shake the bowl, and she'd think that I fed her again because the bottom would be covered, and then she'd be fine.
Ooh.
Weirdo.
Or every time I walk into the kitchen to either let the dogs out or whatever, and the cat follows me. Exactly, yes. And this is a big cat. Yeah. A big old tuxedo type cat. And
that's what my Jinx was. When I first adopted her, she was 22 pounds.
Yes. Batman is 19. Yes.
Wow.
Now,
yes.
he is a big cat overall as well, but when his little fat flabs were hanging over the sides when he was laying on this thing, I was like, oh, Batman, you've been on a diet, and I think you gained weight.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know the feeling. Yeah. Poor Batman.
Poor Batman.
So cute.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, Vincent thinks so too.
I don't even know what it's talking about. I'm not getting any text, so I don't know why.
You now have a possessed phone.
Yes, Wendy's phone is possessed. So if you can't get a hold of me, it's okay. We'll do a ritual and get it back to where it needs to be.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. All right. Well, do we have Cindy on the phone by any chance?
I do believe we do. Yes. While we were gabbing.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself, June?
Not too bad. I'm a little exhausted. We've had lots and lots and lots of meetings and a lot of things at work. So it's just been like, oh my gosh. So if I zone out, just kind of clear your throat and say, June. Oh, sorry.
June, what up?
There I was. Well, how have you been, Cindy? What's going on in your life?
I've been busy too, and I'm happy with that. Busy is good.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm just counting down the days until summer because I don't know what kind of weather you love, but I totally love summertime, especially when there's a blue sky and full sunshine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with what you're dealing with right now. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are just rain right now. It's just thank God it's not snow for I think the next 10 days. So I just go by the 10-day forecast.
I don't mind the snow, but I don't like that rain and sleet and ice that we got with it.
Yeah, the ice is scary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you get to be old like me.
Oh, that would be us. Yeah. We're not old. We are vintage.
Vintage, that's right. I feel very vintage right now. Oh my gosh. Oh. So.
And isn't there like 40 different words for rain out in your region, June?
Yes, you mean just like we have, spritzing rain and, the little waterfall rains and yeah, we have lots of different rains. It's like misty rain. That's mostly like what Seattle's known for. It's really not known for the torrential downpours. And that always makes me laugh when I see a lot of movies that portray Seattle. And it's like pouring rain in these movies. And it's just like, usually it's not like that. Actually, today it was, but we do have that every once in a while. But most of the time, it's that misty rain that kind of gets, in your bones and soggy. And yeah. And no one carries an umbrella in Seattle. If you see somebody with an umbrella, usually you think, oh, that's a tourist.
Yeah. Telltale signs.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's pretty funny. That's one of the telltale signs. We're like, you kind of dry off when you get inside. So, yeah. But other than that, the just nice cloudy. The thing about Seattle, though, like I said, it's either the misty rain or it's the gray. A lot of times just the cloud cover, which happens weeks on end. And that's why we say we see sun breaks out here instead of, cloud. But there's a few sun breaks. Or we say the mountain is out, which is a big clue that, the clouds have kind of parted a little bit and Mount Rainier is showing. Because most of the time Mount Rainier is not showing. Yeah. So... all this Seattle terminology out here.
Mm-hmm. Got fog, misting, sleeting, snowing, freezing rain.
And that's just in a 5-minute span in Kansas City.
That's right. Freezing fog. Freezing fog is
it's
scary.
awful.
Yeah.
That's painful because when you breathe it in, it really hurts your lungs. You can feel it.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. I remember there was one time I was driving and I hit this fog bank, and it was terrifying because it's I remember hitting this fog bank and there was absolutely no visibility. It was just one of those things where you hit it and you just hope that there's nobody in front of you on the highway or anything like that. So yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah, especially driving through it with someone laughing that creepy laugh.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Exactly.
what just happened? Did I just hell? Damn it. I didn't want to get hell today.
Usually that's my passengers because, I just close my eyes and go through the fog. And my passengers are scared to absolute death. So,
I think one of my favorite Will Rogers quotes, what was it, is, when I die, I hope I go to sleep like my grandpa did and not screaming in terror like his passengers in the car. Something like that. It was really cute.
Oh, I like that. That is cute.
Yeah, the Will Rogers quote. Well, Cindy, what all else has been going on in your life and your business and everything?
I've been moving around a lot with traveling and just getting up and going, just short-term things. And it's funny because I got a notification about a week or two ago from Google, and it updated, and I guess it said I went to 139 different cities in 2019.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah. And there I was beating myself up a day beforehand saying I really didn't get that much done in 2019. I wonder why.
I bet so. You're like, how did that happen?
Yeah, and in retrospect, I was like, oh, okay, actually not too bad. And I really didn't believe that I went to 139 different cities, and I just clicked on the map to see what it was talking about. And indeed, I did.
Wow.
I did most of my traveling via automobile in 2019. So there are a lot of places I just saw and I thought, wow, this place looks interesting. And other places where I got called to or I had to go to for whatever reasons. And it's been good. I like that. I really have a travel bug in me.
I know the feeling. Yes. It's one of those things where all of a sudden I start getting really fidgety if I haven't gone anywhere, but let's see, we're supposed to. Well, we're going down to Oregon. Oh my God, Oh my gosh, the Oregon Ghost Conference in Seaside,
right,
Oregon.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, why does my brain always think that? But the Oregon Ghost Conference in Seaside, Oregon. It's about a 5-hour drive from Seattle, so it's not too bad at all. But it's a really awesome ghost conference. They have a lot of really good speakers and really fun vendors and lots of jewelry, and I mean, it's really fun. It's really nice, and it just gets bigger every year. Rocky and Kristen, they both do just this amazing job. putting it together and putting it on. So, and this year will be my first year of actually speaking at it.
That sounds pretty. What are you going to speak on?
I'm going to do my little, I have a little talk. It's called Travel on the Spooky Side. And it is about a lot of my travels, but some evidence that we've caught doing these travels. So, yeah, it's going to be kind of, it's going to be one of those things. I've been doing it at a lot of different libraries lately, which has been really fun. It's kind of getting me to where I have really small audiences, so it's kind of making me a little more brave about speaking in front of people and the public and everything. So I did it at the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, and now I'm ready for the Oregon Ghost Conference. So yes. And then Ross Allison and David Weatherly are going to be speaking on their haunted churches, which is their next book that's coming out. So that should be fun. About haunted churches.
Very neat.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, but anyway, that's the end of March. I think it's March. Was it 28th, 27th, 28th? Around that time frame. And then after that, we're going to be going, I think, April 2nd. We're going to leave for our haunted road trip, which is in Arizona this year. So we get to go to all these different ghost towns and haunted places in Arizona with a lot of people in my a ghost group, the Advanced Ghost Hunters of Seattle-Tacoma group. And just kind of have some fun that way. And then in June, I'm going to go to Salem, Massachusetts. Ooh. So I've never been to Salem before, so I'm so excited. So going to kind of go there to see the statue of Samantha on Bewitched. Elizabeth Munn statue and everything. And so some Bewitched fans are going, so I get to go with my Bewitched fans' friend. So it'll be fun.
That's a sweet show. I just saw it the other day on something called Antenna TV, like it's a TV station. Mm-hmm. And when I was a little kid watching it, of course, my favorite part was like the intro, which was the cartoon.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And as a little kid, I noticed, to me, it was just like, okay, cool. It was like, of course, everybody should be able to do something like this. Too bad we can't. To have to just, wiggle your nose or your chin and your house is clean.
Yes, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Virtually right now.
I remember Daryl always just kind of, my view of adults generally as a kid, when you're in school, when you're, out on the teams and the adults are always yelling. So not yesterday, but earlier this week I saw Bewitched, and Daryl was again yelling at his wife, Darren. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, why the heck are they married?
Exactly. I always thought, I'd kill him.
He couldn't accept her the way she was and tried to make her give up her powers, things like that. Mm-hmm. Like, come on.
Please. Embrace the witch.
Yes, that would have been amazing.
He had so many warnings about, a woman scorned and everything, especially.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like, but it's really kind of cool because through my friends who Mark is the major Bewitched fan. We did a 50th anniversary of Bewitched, and he got almost every single guest star that was still alive to come to this kind of conference, convention, Bewitched Fanfare. And it was, it really was amazing. A lot of, Bernard Fox, who played Dr. Bombay, and he's also been in countless movies. Mm-hmm. That was like the highlight for me. I got to meet him and his daughter and everything. And remember Johnny Whitaker from Buffy and Jody, or Family Affair? Buffy and Jody, and she had the Mrs. Beasley doll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because every single person that was there had a role on Bewitched. And Ron Masak, he is the funniest person. He's been in thousands of shows probably. but he was he played you probably know him a little better. He played the sheriff on Murder, She Wrote after Tom Bosley left. If you kind of picture him, but he played the sheriff a few times in different shows, but he was like the funniest person ever. But one person I just absolutely love, I mean, there's so many of them there, but Dick York's son, Chris York, and his wonderful wife, Christy. I mean, they are just the nicest, most fun people, and it's been amazing. You know, I have to say I wasn't a major fan of Bewitched, but now, you know, of course I am because of all the wonderful people on the show and my friends and everything. So it's been really, really cool. I've enjoyed a lot of it. So. But
there's an anonymous dude in chat, and he's asking, does Miss Cindy choose her travel locales based on location astrology?
Oh.
I sometimes do. What I actually use it for more is to know what places to avoid.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
It's kind of funny because with the locational astrology, this is about how your planetary energies map out across the rest of the world. And the way it works is, say that you were born at 9 a.m. in New York City. Well, at somewhere in the world, the sun was somewhere high noon. So maybe New York City is a bad idea. Let's just say you were born in LA at 9 a.m. Then it would have been around, high noon somewhere in New York.
Yes.
So then what you would see is you would look at your chart and you would see what planets are nearby the place of birth, and sometimes there's not. But there would be a very long sun line on the midheaven, which is the highest point of the chart, that would be somewhere over New York and the rest of the East Coast, very likely. So those would be places, say, like anything that has a midheaven would be your career point, your public point, and according to the planet on that point, it would manifest differently. So the sun, being the biggest luminary in the sky, would bring you brightness. It sheds light on a lot of things. It will help with your career because that's the career point. It will also show things that are normally hidden. So keeping secrets there is not, if you're a very secretive type of Scorpio, maybe a sun on the midheaven is not the place for you. Mm-hmm. If you're a rather outgoing Sagittarius, it might be the right place for you, though. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so there's places where I know I should try to stay away from because those kind of energies are not the things I'm looking for. However, I'll give you an example. A Pluto line is something I normally, if I could stay away from it, I do. But Pluto is a line that is sometimes it's about power plays, it's transformations, but it's also dealing with the positives of it is you get more powerful connections with the occult, aka the hidden things. So sometimes if I do need to do more deep or insightful work with whatever tools I use, a Pluto line will enhance that. So yes, to answer the question of the person in chat, I definitely do. And sometimes even when I look for just random places to travel, that sometimes is one of the things I look at is, oh boy, I have some energies there that I just don't feel like dealing with right now. Maybe I could shelf that and go to it another time.
That makes
and if it is somewhere I have to go, I just realize what I'm going to be dealing with. And usually it is that way. You go, say to a Saturn line, you're going to feel kind of isolated. It is what it is. It's nothing personal, though. Mm-hmm. But I would always recommend going to your positive lines in general, especially if you're sensitive to those energies.
That's a good idea. Oh, man.
And there are ways to remediate it. So say you do end up on a line that's generally harder energies to deal with. say you go to a Saturn line and you feel everything is kind of stark and lonely, you could use local space. And that's a different way of how your chart lines up and radiates out. Essentially, you are your natal chart. And it would be those energies that would be casted around you. And then you could bring in some of the Feng Shui, or you could bring Indian Baga, and you could use different colors. Even if it's just like a certain color of a scarf. Say you have too much Saturn and you want to brighten things up, you could bring Jupiter, which is a more orangey type of color, or the Sun, which is the more yellowy gold type of color. Or you could bring Venus to soften things up, which is some of the light blues and the pastels, and you just put those around you, and it would actually help to remediate the energies.
Now, Rico Rogan in the chat is saying, so do all people have these lines? And, can I find love on a Venus line?
All people definitely have those lines, and you're more likely to find love on a Venus line. It's interesting with the Venus lines in that they're very soft but very favorable. Venus is the planet of love. Venus, the goddess, is all about love herself. I think it would be more favorable for a female going to a Venus line. However, if a male goes to a Venus line, or let me put it this way, if you're looking to attract males and you're a female on a Venus line, it might be easier than a male trying to attract another male or even a female, because it does work, through the people around you. But it's generally a favorable line that it casts a positive light that people tend to like you, even if they know they're not going to like you before they meet you. The whole thing of, say just as somebody from New York, I always identify New York City as my soul home. But a lot of, you go to places across America and they already have all these negative connotations of like, oh, it means you're a punk and you're rude and you're this and you're like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But if you go to a Venus line, even if it's in a place that really thinks that big city people are the idiots and the jerks and everything, they're actually going to like you and they're going to find reasons to like you. So
that's interesting.
It does make life easier, and yes, it will definitely help you find love. Now, in order to find love on your Venus line, I would say work with your transits, how the planets are moving around your chart. You don't want to go at a time when transiting Saturn, the planet of restriction, say is going over Venus or your descendant in your chart. Your descendant is how you connect with others, because Saturn will restrict your ability to connect with others.
Guess he's saying hello.
Sounds like Augie wants to go to Venus line.
Where's that, Dakota? Oh, there's the Augie. Aw.
There's over there. Come on, baby. Gotta get closer. There he is. Sorry about that, guys.
Poor Augie. Aw. Want some love.
Oh, he probably wants snacks.
Oh, love snacks,
It's all the same thing.
Yeah. It's really
all right.
interesting.
Well, I've dropped links into all of the chats for Cindy's website.
Awesome.
City Astrology, and Augie gave up. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's like, that's it. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm. No snacks. I'm out of here. Wait, he came back.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I heard you talking
Said the magic word snacks.
Yeah.
And he's like, snacks?
Oh.
Oh, I know. All right, I will mute this for a moment, and you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's one thing that you said about New York. It was really funny. I went to, when I was young, very young, I went to become a nanny in New York because I thought, oh, this will be awesome. It'll be a great experience and everything. But I remember so many people kept telling me, oh, people are so rude and mean there and all this other stuff. And I was a little scared, I have to say, when I first came out there, because here I was from Kansas City, pretty naive in a sense and everything. And it was really something. I met so many amazing people there. I remember there was one time I met this elderly couple and found out that they were both retired teachers from NYU. And we were standing in line at a theater, and I think it was when we were going to see this kind of, it was a film from, I can't remember what country it was from. It was called Red Sorghum. And anyway, it was kind of an art film. And I just, of course, I just would talk to everybody there. Because, I was like, well, hi, and they just thought I was, a little strange because I was talking to them. But after a while, they were like, well, you're not from here, are you? And they definitely knew that.
No, yeah.
But they were so nice. And it was so funny. They invited me over for dinner after the movie. And I went, and I was just thinking, wow. I was so trusting, and I would do that so much. I would meet these people, and they'd say, let's go out and do something. And I'd be like, okay, let's go. And I'd just meet these people. It was so funny how trusting I was. And yeah, I'll tell you, the night we went to New York to, our goal was to stay in a really nice hotel in New York for the night. And it was another nanny who I had met up with. And so it was our whole goal. We didn't realize how expensive it was going to be for us. Yeah. So, of course, we go there and find out it was like, and this was in 1987, I think, 86 or 87. I think it was 87. And we went there and we wanted to stay at, it was by the theater district. And I remember them saying it was like $200 and something for the night. And we were like, oh, we didn't realize it was going to be so expensive. And then the lady was like, very rudely says, well, there is a YWCA around the corner.
Oh, wow.
So we were like, okay, that sounds great. So I remember us. Yes, we were so excited. So we get there, and it was $20 for the night. And we get there, and we get up to this room, and, it's pretty clean. So we were like, okay, there's 2 twin beds in there and, everything. And, but all of a sudden we look out the window, and the bars on the window had been pried back and tied off. And there was another building right underneath that was kind of a ledge that had a whole bunch of wine bottles and porn magazines and everything. And the window was broken. So whoever would get out on that top of the roof would climb in that window probably to get out of the cold, and there was no lock on the window. So we were terrified as Midwest girls. And I remember us sitting out in the hallway all night with the door locked, with our room door locked, just in case. And we met like some other women who were sitting in the hallway too with us, and one, proclaimed herself to be a white witch, and the other was an ex-prostitute who's trying to get her life together, and she's telling us her story, and was really kind of amazing.
Hotel you were in.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. Wow. I'll never forget that. It's one of those times, even though I was like, it was how many years ago now, but it's ingrained in my head forever now. So, because those experiences, but I remember being really terrified that person that was, right there was going to crawl in if we went to sleep on the bed. So yeah, we slept in the hallway. We finally fell asleep, grabbed pillows and a blanket.
Wow. Totally defeat the purpose of spending the night in a hotel.
Yeah, it was. but we hit the museums, and I'll never forget it. But I lived in actually Hackensack, New Jersey for 2 years. And every weekend I would go to New York. The bus stop wasn't, about a half a mile walk to the bus stop, and
it's an area that definitely keeps you in shape.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I walk everywhere, and yeah. So.
Okay, Jen in chat is asking, what is the best line for career or having a baby? I'm sorry, this is great. We have questions in the chat. Since
yes,
I didn't
please.
Make you work.
Yes, please, Cindy, if you can. That's awesome.
Okay, so career and having a baby are two very different things, unless you want to make a career of having babies, right?
No, thank you.
I know those people, yeah.
Yeah, there are people that do that, right? There's like
I have one of those too in my life, yeah.
Yeah. For career in general, it depends. I'll put this out there. If Jen's listening, she could type it in the chat. What kind of career she wants. So an artsy career is different from a corporate career, different from, a more esoteric career. So I'll start with having a baby until she is able to put something, if she hears me. And if not, I'll just get into careers in general.
I assume she's listening, but yeah, it might take.
Okay, yeah, right. It could be like those hit and runs, right? So,
Exactly.
For having a baby, we look at fertility, and fertility is most tied in with the moon. And just like the moon has its lunar cycles, it's 28 days, and as you know, we women are within a cycle as well. Then we look at that, and also the moon represents our emotions, our inner mother, our maternal instinct, and fertility, and our ability to nurture as well. It's a lot of work to have a baby, and just raising the child by itself, even though it's a 24-hour job, we can't be on 24 hours. Kind of like the moon can't be on all day, or the sun even can't be on all day. But because of the fertility and the cycles that are related to fertility, we always look at the moon. And so I would, first and foremost, without looking at your chart, just look at where the moon lines would be. But I'd also, once I'm able to see your chart, I would see how the moon is placed in your chart. You might have something that might be an obstacle for being able to get pregnant easily. And if you do, then, I would still say a moon line might help to enhance it, depending on what kind of placement or what kind of restriction it is. The other place I would say for having a baby, possibly a Venus line, because there's more love. Okay. And also even possibly a sun line, because if you have any health-related issue, the sun line will help you become healthier.
It says, she says she's a chef.
Okay, so that's absolutely perfect. A moon line would work excellent with a chef, because it is about the nurturing. Now, a Venus line for her career would also be good for a chef, because the Venus line is about the indulgences that we have in life. And it would be something on the midheaven, preferably. So even if she had a moon on the midheaven, even though the moon is, or the midheaven is career, it would still help with her being able to have a baby. Maybe if it's on the lower heaven, in other words, a place that represents the home, or your body, yourself, your foundations, that would be even better. But, it's still a nice head start. As a matter of fact, sometimes some astrologers warn people, if you're going to travel to a moon line, make sure if you don't want to get pregnant, to use double conception, contraception. Conception, yeah. So, yeah. Does Jen have any other questions or curiosities?
Not that I see so far, anyway. And Rico and Anonymous Dude haven't said anything else, so.
So yeah, it's definitely something I would recommend. I think we'll definitely get into that sometime. Or any time that you want, I could always get into that. It's a fascinating field. Actually, June, for your ghost hunting, I would recommend, but be very careful that you do go to your Pluto line. And possibly your Saturn line, because these areas are going to be kind of empty or desolate. And sometimes in those more emptier regions, you might find more spirits if there's less people.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Can you help her find those lines? Or I wouldn't know where to start, but
oh yeah, it would just start with the natal chart. So as far as as soon as the natal chart is cast, we could always create a map, and that would show where on the world that the map that the lines land on the map.
Right. That's interesting.
Jen says thank you, and McMenamin S is saying, could I do better in the New York Marathon as opposed to the Boston or London?
Oh, interesting with the lines.
Okay, so if McMenamin is running a marathon, Mars line is the best thing for athletic ability. I don't know if McMenamin is male or female, but it doesn't matter. But it would help especially more if the person's male. But a Mars line either on the ascendant, meaning just coming up where the sun would rise, or the midheaven, if this is like a career thing that would help McMenamin, or possibly even on the descendant if McMenamin is running for a cause.
Okay.
So, but either way, a Mars line, because the Mars line, the god Mars, is a warrior. He's the one that would, he's aggressive, he's assertive, he has no problem exerting his energy, and Mars really works in that masculine type of energy. You know, that old book of men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's the whole masculine type of ability. It also helps sometimes with bulking up with muscles or burning of fat. It could help sometimes with personal power. So if McMenamin, say he had a Neptune line over Boston or New York, but all the way over in London he has his Mars line, then he would do much better in London. Actually, if he had a Neptune line in nearby Boston or New York, I feel like really, I mean, just go and run, enjoy it, but don't expect to be one of the first ones. You know, you're just going to have to stroll right through.
That's good to know.
However, if he wanted to go swimming, the Neptune line might work for that.
Oh, like a triathlon? Oh, maybe not.
Swimming in particular, because Neptune's about water.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or swimming through fog. Haha. So, right?
Okay, yeah, he's a man. Okay. All right, for more on your lines and to get charts done by Cindy, please go to www.kansascityastrology.com and book your reading from her.
That's awesome.
Now, June, I do have your chart from
a
long time ago. So let me see. Okay, you're going to find you must have found more happiness eventually in the Pacific Northwest, because you do have a sun line on your ascendant.
Nice. Yes, I have to say, yeah.
And you definitely would have felt a sense of kinship with the people around you. Now, have you ever gone to Chicago or Dallas?
I have just kind of like been through them. Dallas was a long, long time ago, but I loved Dallas, actually. It was really artsy. I didn't realize it was so... I actually really did not realize Dallas was so artsy. I thought Dallas, when I had the vision in my head, I was going to, there was going to be antlers on everything with, everybody carrying rifles, which probably has that too. but, it was really beautiful. I didn't realize that. And Chicago, like I said, I've only kind of been through it and stayed in the Hyatt at the airport. So never got to see the city.
Well, you have a Mars line that goes through Dallas, kind of close to Chicago. I'd probably say closer to Milwaukee, and it's on your ascendant. So it would have been able to get you to be kind of active. However, it also would have been able to help you assert yourself, and in some ways, it could attract men if you were looking for that. Because it was on the ascendant, it's more about, you would have had to have looked for that or shown it in order, you've had to given some signals about that.
Right. I've kind of given up on the men line right now. So it's like,
At the age, just kind of mellowing out. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, oh, well, but no, Jake would be happy with that, actually. I was just talking to him the other day about going to Chicago because, that's where he's from, and up in Milwaukee and all the things, and visiting some of the haunted locations around that area. So
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
He could be the tour guide.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Alrighty. Well, shall we go back to kind of where we were with doing a story night? Cindy had one about black magic. She was going to.
Oh yeah, I'd love to
us.
hear that.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So I'll tell you what was scary. It was the whole ritual of it, to me, was scary, and finding out all the details that go into a black magic spell, for instance. This was hardcore black magic. This wasn't like Eye of Newt and, toenail of frog. And
Right.
This was like, this was stuff from the Far East. And it was very old, ancient type of, most black magic is, but this was, this is stuff where if you really wanted to screw somebody over, this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was they take, now it depends on how strong you want the black magic to be, but generally it comes down to using anywhere from 5 to 7 snakes, poisonous snakes.
Ooh.
And what they would do is, it's kind of like how football works, where everybody in the team, or every team, plays against each other, and you narrow it down until you get to the last 2 teams for the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So it was kind of like that with the snakes, where you pit them up against each other. So they have, you put it in like a big glass vessel, and you let them fight against each other. And yes, that's very evil. It's just wicked to do that to any living creature,
Right.
And what happens is they take the winner and they put it up with another winner, and they have those 2 fight, and they take the winner of that and they have the other, 2 winners fight until there's only one left. Now, the whole idea is that you're creating this kind of energy within the snake. And as you're killing some of the other snakes, the winning snake the idea is supposed to get stronger and stronger. And then you could take the poison from that snake and use the poison of that snake into the black magic. Or you could take a scale of the snake, or if it's about to shed, you could take the snake skin. And then what you do is, if you're trying to cast it on somebody, to really be effective, you should have a piece of them in some way or another. And often the most common way is just to get a follicle of hair. And what they do is they tie this hair into several different knots mixed in with the skin or the scale, or maybe possibly dipped in the poison. And the whole idea of getting 5 to 7 snakes is, how many areas of your life does it want to affect? So because you're only left with one snake, there's an odd number out, so you either get 4 areas of the person's life, or 5, or 6. 4, 6, or I'm trying to think. I really suck at math, guys, so forgive me for this. But
I understand the feeling.
Yes. The idea is, there's areas of life like love, health, well-being, career, money, spirituality, family. And if you wanted to hit more areas, that's what you do, is you use more snakes. But usually the cap on that is 7. Occasionally it goes up to 9. I have heard about people using 11, but it becomes almost, you're going to laugh. The reason that they don't is it becomes really prohibitively expensive. And this is the whole thing, is that when you're working with genuine black magicians that practice black magic, and they know what they're doing, it's going to cost you a lot of money, especially if you don't want, you can't really control it, but, they could kind of sometimes guide it a little bit better so it doesn't backfire and hit the person who, not only the person that cast it, but the person that asked it to be cast. So, what it is too is that before they tie the hair in a knot, or whatever it is that they get from the target person, they also watch as the snakes are fighting. And oftentimes they wrap up around each other and they say magical words and particular incantations while this is happening in order to try to capture that energy. And later they use those as they're casting the spell as well. So, it is dark stuff that honestly, to this day, I look at it and I'm still very freaked out about it. And I've seen this going on over 20 years ago. Now, the target person ended up getting very, very sick with very unusual, just things that were absolutely unrelated with each other. Like one day, like a really bad chest cold, another week they get like a very bad kidney problem or, some kind of infection. The week after that, it would be like their liver, the week, So when you have like this string of unusual, unrelated type of medical things that start to happen, if you have an open and broad mind, sometimes you could think about black magic. Now, when we get back to the North American continent, not as many people practice that, and it's not something that's in everyday use. But in the older worlds, you would definitely see these things more in action, and then there's different remedies for it. So, when it finally hit that target person, so like I said, they had these horrible physical ailments. She was about to get engaged. The guy had left her. She failed something in college, so she had to almost sit back a year and still study while she was still sick and everything.
Wow.
Things were falling apart with her whole family all the time, where they were fighting all the time. And I think it was like someone, this girl happened to be an Orthodox Christian, and someone in the church that was like a father or something, not a priest, but it was like a spiritual father. And he recognized what was going on and said, I really think that you're the victim of some kind of black magic going on. Now, when you use black magic, the word black magic in the church, everyone's like, oh my God, and they freak out, and how dare you, and you can't say these things. And,
you're going to burn because you said that in church? Yeah.
Basically, yeah. But the only reason that they listened to him is because he was a spiritual father, and they realized that he's not going to just, it's like, it's one thing when the priest says it, it's another thing when the member of the congregation says it, right? And so they, at first they were like, well, we don't know anybody that would do this to us, and no, I don't think so, and not that they were poo-pooing black magic, but just it wasn't in
couldn't believe anybody would do that to them,
they didn't know anybody that that would have that kind of access. And but they went ahead and he referred them to some other person that was, I guess, tied to the church that had some familiarity with it. And they started giving him some antidotes, and it finally started to work.
Good.
In order to break the spell and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea, too, of using these number of snakes is that, say that you use the snakes that would, break down to the number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens is you get 6 areas of your life. Your year is divided into 6 different parts according to the black magic, and it would come in 6 different sections. And that's how it manifested for this particular girl. It started with her health, it went on to her love life, and her health problems went on for just like a couple of months or so, and it lingered and overlapped a little bit with her love life, where it was like dramatic and the breakup and everything, and then it moves on into her. So that's how the pattern recognition came about. They were able to, now removing black magic, as you know, especially you, June, I think you might have seen some of these things or overlap with people that have quite a lot of knowledge about this. It's a lot of work, and sometimes you can't always do it. She happened to be lucky in that the people through the church that she knew they were able to get together with some power prayers and, prayers in circles and lots of, I guess, holy water. I'm not sure exactly. She told me they used some oils as well. I wasn't privy, unfortunately, to everything that they used to break the spell, but I did hear the details of how to do the spell work. I don't know. I kind of think when you get down to that stuff, just getting 2 creatures to fight each other in order to create more hate. Wow. That was really what the spell was based on, I think, a lot of hate. Wow.
Did you have any indication of why it was being cast against her or anything?
Yeah, and it was simply hate. It was
jealousy or something.
Jealousy and hate.
One of her classmates, believe it or not, it was her classmate's mother that she wanted her daughter to get ahead by any means possible, and it was like, okay, she's not going to go and poison the people herself, so she could do black magic, so she's not traced to it. But she was traced to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what happens too during these some of these rituals where they do it to untie the black magic, is that sometimes it is revealed who does it. Now the way she found out wasn't through the undoing of the black magic. Her classmate's mother actually bragged about it to a couple of people, and of course it got back to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Yeah.
I was curious about the language that they may have. McMenam is going to, after hearing that, he's going to be nice to everyone he meets. That is
good.
Scary.
Good job. Yes,
yep,
please.
Yep. But I was curious about the language they used in the ritual. Did you recognize it, or was it just English, or?
No, it was the local language. This was out in the Middle East, so they used. I don't know what they used for the black magic, but I would imagine it was. The person that cast the spell was not in the country; they were overseas. I don't know, and she used East Asian black magic, so it could have been if she got black magicians from somewhere in China, for instance, it would have been done in Chinese, or Mandarin rather. Mm-hmm. So I don't know essentially it's language is interesting. Language is like time in our dimension, in that it is so limiting and so linear that it's not so much about the words that you use, it's the vibration of the meaning. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, I have a funny story of this friend in high school used to refer to his dog as hemorrhoid. And I would say, well, why is he a hemorrhoid? He goes, because he's a big pain in the butt. I remember I used to feel kind of horrified about it because it's like you're still calling this dog a bad name, you know? And I think the dog would recognize that. I mean, they're not, you know. But it's, he would say it with such love, like, here, hemorrhoid, come here, hemorrhoid, how's my hemorrhoid doing? You know?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so of course, you know, the dog would like also wag its tail and like start licking him and stuff, but you know, I think it's because he used the bad words with so much love that it kind of countered the whole idea of using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's more like, you know, I guess the term is glossolalia, the way that you would tend to express feelings or speech, where, you know, when it comes to this black magic, sometimes there's no words for it. And I think that could also be some of the origin of, if you hear when people pray in tongues, like a type of
Pentecostal.
Yeah.
When I start with the tongues, it's usually because of a low blood sugar, so I just go check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my. You know, that's really something. I have a friend that's been going through, I have a couple friends actually, that's been going through a lot of crud basically in their lives, and you know, it's kind of one thing after another, and I have to keep reminding this person of the blessings also that they have, so that they don't lose sight of that too. You know, because they have a lot of blessings, but so many bad things have happened. I start thinking, I wonder if somebody is jealous and somebody has been you know, has done something against him. And, you know, I even got some Palo Santo oils, and I got this one spray for him. And, you know, I'm not really a big believer in this, but it sounded really nice. But it smells really good, too. But, you know, it has like these crystals that were in Sedona. Or, I mean, you know, it's like all this stuff. And I was like, you know, it smells nice. Just take it. So, you know, even if you don't believe, but you know, just try to believe, you know, if you can just try to believe that things will start getting better, maybe they will if you put that belief out there, because now it's to the point where they're expecting these bad things to happen. And I believe the more you expect bad things to happen, the more bad things will happen to you. You know, it's just kind of getting to that point now where it's just ridiculous. It's like, what in the world is going on? And things have slowed down a little bit ever since the Palo Santo oil. Okay, I'm probably not. That probably has nothing to do with it. But
well, but then again, you know what? Maybe.
I'm trying to make them not lose hope. It's just the biggest thing, because once you lose hope, it just seems like everything goes in the crapper. You know.
But you know what you could do for that person is send positive affirmations their way without letting them know, because sometimes the silent affirmations are the most powerful ones.
That's true. I need to do that a lot more and make it stronger. Yeah, it does get very frustrating. And then, you know, I love them so much. It's one of those things where, you know, I feel like, you know, you just get to that point where it's just like, you know, just feeling really down and everything else because they're going through so much. And I think, you know, well, actually my life is going pretty good. You know, I'm very fortunate. I have a place to live. I have a great roommate. You know, I have, you know, really great things happening. But since they are so many bad things happening to them, and, you know, it's just like, oh, my life kind of sucks, but it really doesn't, you know. So I have to not lose sight of that too. But yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah, when he says, "Oh, it can't get any worse," I was like, "Don't say that! Oh my God!" Yes, it can get worse. Holy crap!
Universe says, "Challenge accepted."
Yes, exactly.
Hold my beer.
Oh, it just when somebody says it can't get any worse, that's when I just, you know, like, oh my God, don't say that. Because it can get so much worse. You don't even know how much worse it can get. So don't say that.
Christian in the chat room is asking, can positive affirmations counter things like snake spells and black magic? Probably.
That'd be a lot of positiveness.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of positive.
Yeah. And yeah, I would agree with Wendy is that it would take a whole lot. However, spiritual hygiene is also important. It's it's kind of like your dental hygiene. Maintaining it every single day is better than finding a cavity and fixing it, so to speak. So if you have good spiritual hygiene, that's where, or if you don't, I would start with fixing your spiritual hygiene. The second thing is, yes, the positive affirmations, prayer to God, whatever God is to you, will also help. Doing some of the protection spells, and they're not really spells, they're just more like, I don't know, like ceremony or rituals or
chant. Yeah.
Envisioning white light surrounding you. And
exactly. Or, putting the salt around your house or, burning a bay leaf. Yeah. So, and that's also another thing too that I found is really powerful is being able to, to kind of, there's like this thing called cord cutting, where you can actually literally cut a cord, but there's also other ways where it's similar to cord cutting where you could write somebody's name down or an idea down or something bad that's happening to you and write it on a piece of paper and then burn that paper, or on a bay leaf and burn that bay leaf. There's also ways where you could use different kinds of, like, you could use toilet paper and write it down and then have it get rinsed out of your life. Yeah. You could kind of flush it, but it's more about having the paper dissolve, and just kind of like a way of eroding that kind of hate or eroding the kind of negativity, because these things sometimes they build up. So it really depends on the order of how things came. Now with hate, there's some people, I don't know if you've ever gone through this, but for no reason, they just hate you on the spot. And you're like, man, what the hell?
you're like,
taking on the road, buddy.
Exactly. And it's like they want to like instantly make it a point that they have to give you a hard time and everything. Now with that kind of instant type of hate, you could burn it by fire, and that would really be effective. There's the other kind of hate where, say, you have a friend for a long time, and slowly, as your life starts to change, because everybody has their own life, say things, start to get better for you, or you finally start to achieve your benchmarks one little stone at a time, and this person starts to like resent you for your successes, then it would probably be more appropriate to use like the dissolving paper to try to, diserode that type of accumulated hate.
One thing I was going to say, one thing I heard one time is when you meet somebody that you instantly just can't stand, a lot of people say there is an aspect of themselves or an aspect of yourself in them that you just don't like, and you are kind of projecting the hatred on them that you basically have for yourself. And I don't know how true that is in some aspects, but every once in a while it's like I'll meet somebody, especially somebody that is very meek and mild. You'd think that I have a lot of compassion for them, and then it's just like, ugh. And I'm like, what, June? Don't be so, I'm never outwardly mean to anybody because, that would be awful. But, inside I'm just like, I can't stand them. And I'm like, why can't you stand them? You don't know them. And then I'm thinking that little statement, I was like, because, she's so meek and mild. And I used to be that way. And I hated that when I was, going through that time in my life where I couldn't, speak to anybody or look anybody in the eye, and I just mumble everything. And, I didn't even think I was a person. It was horrible. And now I find myself, and I see some of these women that are like that, and I just like, ugh, can't stand them. And it's like, June, you know what you're doing. Yeah. So
you could take a page out of my book and just carry several poppets in your purse with you when you go. And when you meet those type of people, just go ahead and imbue them with something from that person. Yank their hair out or something and wrap it around their neck.
Find a few snakes, put them in a jar.
Yep. Okay. All
My
right, not
slip.
really, but
Silly. Oh, but anyway, I don't know if that's true with, a lot of things. I'm sure there are different, scenarios, but I have found that every once in a while when I act that way, or not act that way, when I feel that way, then, I think, okay, June, what's the real deal? Let's look at this, and make sure you smile. Don't glare. Don't growl.
a good growl can keep people at arm's length too. Don't ever knock that.
Yes. Yeah, there was one time that I did growl when I was riding the bus, and this crazy homeless man sat down beside me.
Oh.
So he started trying to say some things to me, and I went, and then he got up.
Good one, June. Yay!
I just thought if he thought I was crazier than him. It's but I wouldn't have bit him. He probably hadn't had a bath in a long time.
Yeah, you could get what do you have to get the shots for? Not rabies, but the
rabies?
I wouldn't say typhus, or it's not. It's lockjaw and.
Yeah,
like the tetanus type. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, tetanus.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Well, it's good that he took your growl as you're not invited rather than to me.
Well, sometimes it's really easy to do that when you're, it's 7 or 6:30 in the morning and you haven't had any coffee. But then I heard a lady behind me start laughing. So.
Well, Jerry in the chat room says that. She says, sometimes you are just feeling something in them that you can't deal with at the moment.
Yeah. That's true, too. Definitely. You're just ugh, I can't take
Haven't
this.
had my coffee? Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
This moment, yes. I hate the world.
Yeah, I used to have a little sign on my desk that said, please, if you have anything important to tell me, please send it in an email. Don't come up to my desk and start telling me about something that you want me to do at 7:30 in the morning when I'm at work. And it's don't tell me these things, because an hour later, believe me, I'm going to come up to you and say, did you talk to me this morning? After I have my coffee. It's just I'm just not a morning person. I get in, I start answering my emails and things like that, and it's just don't want to talk to anybody. And it's please don't talk to me before 10. I don't say that, but sometimes it's just please. Right. It's kind of an understanding, my old boss and I used to have that all the time. We both wouldn't talk to each other until it was after 10. We warmed up, had our coffee, and then we're ready to go.
Better to wait till 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh gosh. Just not a morning person.
Well, there are things like that with, even if you are practicing good spiritual hygiene, sometimes people are born with certain powers like the evil eye, where sometimes it could just, it really just happens in an instant and it's unintentional. And we, when I was younger with a group of friends, and there was one guy everybody knew oh God, whenever he comes around, just make sure that you don't talk about the good things in life.
Oh,
just talk about the weather, talk about the teams, talk about generalities, but don't get personal. Otherwise, this person has the ability to kind of ruin things.
Debbie Downer.
No, he wasn't a negative person. But it was kind of just silly, crazy things happening. That was typical of very powerful evil eye. Like one guy was wearing, he had a brand new shirt and he had it pressed and he had it it just fit him perfectly. It was tailored and everything. And the guy came and he's like, "Ooh, you got a new shirt. It looks fantastic on you." I swear to God, 10 seconds later, the Pepsi bottle and he was, those small ones that you used to get from the vending machines a long, long time ago. It cracked in his hand and it splashed on his shirt. And it was
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that's pretty bizarre.
Well, that's like the kind of evil eye that happens. It's a different kind of, I don't know, I guess in Italy they call it the malocchio. But it really is an energy, just comes out and follows the lines of least resistance in order, in order to create the destruction of what it is that you don't have that you wish you had.
Should the other guy have knocked on wood as soon as somebody said something? Never mind.
Actually, yeah, he probably should have said some kind of blessing. It did get into the habit where people would just, either call God or whatever it is.
Throwing the horns, basically.
Yeah, they're crossing their fingers,
Yeah. For some reason, I think that's supposed to help ward off the evil eye, but then again, maybe not.
So, do you know where knocking on wood, where that came from and why? Does anybody have any idea? I was always wondered that, and I haven't looked it up, and I just kind of wondered about that. What knocking on wood had to do with, protecting you, unless it has something to do with Jesus and the cross and the cross made out of wood or something like that. I'm wondering where that came from. I'll have to look that up because now I'm curious.
Something that they thought that the bad spirits lived in wood or something, or
maybe it was more druid. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
But I've heard it in other countries saying touch wood instead of knock on wood. In America, they say knock on wood.
I'm touching wood now.
England, where they say touch wood.
That could be a whole other story, though, if somebody's talking about touching their wood. Sorry. I just joked it up. I'm sorry.
Went there. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Chinito has to do with grounding oneself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Even a touchstone, right? I mean,
Yeah.
now anonymous dude is asking, how can someone develop good spiritual hygiene?
That's true. That'd be good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a lot of work, but once you're in the habit, it becomes part of life. So. Keeping your area clean is one thing. Keeping things orderly. I know. I have a problem.
I need to do that now.
Just negative energies hide in clutter. And
yeah.
I got to do something
I know the
about
feeling.
That. Yeah.
And I think, too, sometimes it's, if things are not orderly, some people are good at, even when things are in disorder. Like, for instance, Einstein's desk was in complete disorder all the time, but he knew where everything was.
Yeah. That's
so
how
that
I
might
know.
not have been, yeah. And that might not be considered clutter. It might not be considered, a lack of hygiene, but it's, just keeping things in order, knowing where things are, that it starts, part with that. Keeping a lot of light around. If you're someone that likes to have the shades drawn and the bushes in front of your windows, and
that's me too. Oh God, I'm not doing very well in my spiritual warfare yet.
So keep the sunlight available to come into the house. Open the windows to get the circulation. And the other thing then would be coming down to some of the sounds and some of the vibration of your house. So. Some people, they put wind chimes up, I've noticed, or they use singing bowls. They just try to get a certain kind of vibration in their house through sound. I wouldn't recommend heavy metal or death metal music because it's just kind of a little bit too erratic, but trying to get more of a symmetrical type of flowing music. Or sometimes some kind of humming or ohms and chanting. And the other things would be the affirmations. So saying the positive affirmations every day of not necessarily just focusing on what you want, but also sometimes, saying some of the flipping the negative, is another way of keeping that clear from you. So, and the other thing, and I tell people too, at least what I tell clients when they're looking for a way to try to get rid of black magic or to try to get some more spiritual hygiene, a lot of them do believe in God and they are active in church in one way or another. They still have their religious beliefs of whatever religion they were raised in. And I say, use that. Use whatever archangels you believe in. Use the prayers that you were raised with. Tell people in your family to pray for you. Just not anything specific, but to pray positive things. Get into that kind of habit. And especially, that's why you see these people from these very big families that have people rooting for them, they do so well. Or let me use the example of the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, when everybody is out there rooting for them, look how good they do.
Right. That's true.
And yes, they will be in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
February 2nd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's a sea of red that everybody's, that helps to support them.
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
I think Chiefs Stadium is known for the noise levels and everything.
I guess Seahawks, though, it's kind of been the Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's kind of been a neck-to-neck war on how loud the fans can get.
Oh, boy.
Because I guess Seahawks now kind of broke the record. Mm-hmm. And but then the Chiefs, I think, took it back. So it was like one of those things with the sound barrier, the sound record. So, yeah, it's been really interesting. It's like, I kind of came, left Kansas City and came up to Seattle. Now it's like, they're still tied together somehow.
Interesting.
It is really interesting. It's like, that's so strange. Never been I have to honestly say I have not been a football fan, but I do love it when a team pulls a city together, and people who don't usually talk or have anything to do with each other. The camaraderie is really great at that time, so I do really enjoy seeing that. So.
Absolutely.
I would say something positive about football.
All right. Well, I threw a couple of links into chats for the knock on wood origins, and basically, June, you were pretty close to right. The ancients believed that woods contained benevolent or good spirits. And also, if you're more into the Christian, ideology, then it was the cross. So, and yeah,
interesting.
So cool. Mm-hmm.
Does it really matter what wood, though?
I don't think so.
Okay, just checking.
Quite often, it's a head,
Yeah, exactly. I do knock on my head sometimes when I say knock on wood.
Me too.
You hear the hollow sound. It's like
But anyway. Alrighty. Well, what do you guys want to talk about now?
Let's see. Well, Cindy, have you seen any good movies lately?
Yeah, I went to one that was on the benefits of mushrooms. So,
I think I saw that advertised.
I know. But basically it works on how it could decompose, how, it could work on decomposing matter to help recycle.
So not magic mushrooms that you take and go on a little space trip. It's like mushrooms.
Any kind of mushrooms. It included all kinds of mushrooms.
How interesting.
And how it helps the trees decompose, but turn into fertilizer so that more trees could grow. And how they have a network underground of mycelium that goes miles and miles, and that they actually communicate with each other underground through these mycelium. So if one gets a bad patch of a plant virus or something is happening, they're even saying they could detect changes of weather or fires from miles away, and they could tell that these mushrooms actually communicate with the plants around them.
Oh, wow.
It was a kind of mystical movie, but it was all scientifically. Yeah, it was extremely fascinating. And they were talking about how that network, it kind of looks like how our nerves spread throughout our bodies. But they were also talking about it also looks like how dark matter and light matter up in space is connected as well, like this whole spongious type of connection that's up there. And, spores could actually survive on meteors and land on other planets, and they're probably one of the first things to grow.
Oh, wow.
And how NASA is trying to incorporate them onto Mars to terraform and to colonize Mars. So, yeah, it was... I know, it sounds like a very dorky thing to watch, but it was just...
It does sound interesting. It really does. It's like to tell you how to make kombucha.
No, it didn't talk about that so much. It was more about...
I was just wondering if it talked about any of that. Because I know that kombucha is supposed to have a lot of health benefits, extreme health benefits from the mushrooms. And I was just kind of curious about that. It's all the rage in Seattle.
Is kombucha only mushrooms, or is it anything that's fermented, though?
I don't know, actually. I always just assumed it was mushrooms, but it could be something different. Something else I'm going to have to look up now. Or I can just ask Alexa. I bet Alexa knows. No.
Ooh.
I think it's like a probiotic or something, right?
Mm-hmm, right, exactly. But yes, it's very popular out here in the Pacific Northwest.
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing because
it's a little bitter, I have to tell you. I've thought, I'd try to drink it for a week or so, and I couldn't do it anymore. It's like I got used to it for a little bit, but then it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's very much an acquired taste. You have to have, you really have to have a good reason to do it. Either you're lucky enough to be born with those taste buds,
right,
or it's some kind of health reason that just really gets you into it.
Yes.
Cool. Well, McMinimum is saying there's stuff out there that says that mushrooms are aliens. Seriously.
I could see that connection, but not that they're grays, but the whole idea of being able to travel.
Right.
I wonder if McMenamin is talking about magic mushrooms, though. But
traveling in your mind.
Yeah, isn't our own Jake pretty deathly allergic to them?
Yes, Jake is deathly allergic. So that is one thing. I told him I would not make him my famous mushroom lasagna when he came over.
What he has anaphylactic shock, I guess, or what happens?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like anyway.
Yeah, it would kill him, yes.
So you could just have your EpiPen ready, feed him the lasagna.
Yes. Try it. I got the EpiPen right here.
I have an experiment I want to try here.
You're going to love it.
And McMinimum says, hell yes.
I really don't have a famous mushroom lasagna. I was just saying that.
Good way to cover your tracks, June.
Yes.
Good,
I put mushrooms in lasagna.
That's how much you love them.
Yes. And garlic. No, I don't put garlic in lasagna. Never mind. I'm really not that great of a cook, so I just decided to tell that to you. I'll confess.
Now, June, I did find that one, the real footage or whatever, on Prime that I watched the other day, and it's A Haunting on Brockway Street.
I don't know if I've seen it or it might be one of those films that, I'm like, I don't think I've seen that. And then I start watching it. I'm like, of course I've seen this.
It's odd, yeah.
I do that all the time. But I'll have to look it up and see.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I always like to, I'm always searching for my favorite, found footage movie. So I'll have to see if I can, locate it. But, yeah, I enjoy the Hell House movies, Hell House LLC movies. I don't know if you've seen those, but I really like the first one. Second one was and third one was, it was fun. It was let's just say it was fun. Good and evil fighting each other, some silly thing. But the first one, I really enjoyed it. So it's
cool
things, but. It doesn't take a lot for me to enjoy a movie. I usually find something in a movie that I like, and I try to hold on to that little morsel. There's some really bad movies out there, and I'm just like, well, I really love the scene where she was walking through the woods. That's about it. That's it. But yeah, I like some things. So
I like the popcorn you get at the movies.
do you?
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets caught in my teeth so much, so I kind of shy away with it, or the kernel gets in my throat, and I start coughing real bad. So like,
Did you hear about that fireman and a firefighter, and I think he was in New York, where he got a kernel of popcorn stuck between his teeth, and he was trying to pull it out, and I guess he gave himself an infection, and he ended up in the hospital with sepsis.
oh
my
no!
gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
But he survived it, and
Good.
like a typical macho fireman, he has this look on his face of glee that he survived it, and he's putting 2 thumbs up, like, yeah, I survived this popcorn thing.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I had sepsis once, and it was not fun.
Oh, it's not good.
I think I survived.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Wendy.
Ooh.
Yeah,
See, Cindy and I are using the Ouija board to contact you
Yes,
right now.
yes.
Didn't even realize it. That's horrible.
That was high school. It was supposed to be pneumonia type infection, and it went straight for my bloodstream.
Wow. That's
The
scary.
rigors of being a diabetic with the highest recorded blood sugar of someone who lived.
Oh man. So you're in the Guinness, the Guinness Book of World
I
Records.
don't think they did that.
No, hopefully not.
Right.
We don't want anybody to try to beat that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So sorry. That's horrible.
This is why I am the way I am.
Yeah. I guess
it's an ordeal.
all your experiences, and everything else made you the way you are. So
Yes, exactly. Mhm.
and it's good.
So there.
I mean, it's good the way you are. That's what I meant.
Thanks,
Not good for the experiences that you've had, because that's not good. But that's
It was
horrible.
what it was. Nobody told me I was supposed to die, so I didn't.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think if I find out, or if my doctor finds out that I have a terminal illness, I would really appreciate it if he would not tell me.
Right.
Because I'm the kind of person, I think that I would actually just kind of, I don't know if I would just say, oh, what's the use?
Shut down and
Yeah.
that's it.
I don't know if I would or not, or, I try to finish the rest of the, 2,500 things on my bucket list.
Right, yeah.
I've taken care of the most important ones on my bucket list. So if something does happen to me, I shouldn't be able to come back and haunt you. Unless I want to.
Oh, I'm coming back and I'm haunting you.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, same here. Yeah.
I plan to haunt Chris Hemsworth in his house. That's my goal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
I'm just going to move in for a while.
Okay. All right.
Australia, it used to, hopefully, I hear that the rains have come and have put out most of the fires in Australia now. So hopefully that's, in Australia right now. But
Yes.
I know
Yeah, and
Chris
we're
Hem-
in no way
so-
making light of the tragedy out there.
No.
We're just saying what's on our bucket lists.
Chris Hemsworth, yes.
Yeah.
And maybe Liam, they're both pretty adorable brothers.
Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm.
So bad, sorry. It's,
Wow,
yes.
back at the ranch.
Yes.
Well, Cindy is going to join me and probably Jake next week as we talk to Dr. Heather Lynn, the renegade archaeologist who's written several good books.
Nice. Oh, yes. I really wanted to talk with her too, but I'm going to be busy with the strike next week with our hospital. So I will be.
Maybe you can listen.
We'll hope so. Let's just hope. hope I'll be able to at least put my headphones on and listen with my phone.
There you go.
Because it's going to be a little probably busy next week.
Little hectic, yeah, I'm sure. And like we've said earlier in the show, we wish the best to the striking nurses. Hope they get what they actually deserve rather than what they're usually given. And,
yes, I hope so. It's just bad on both ends, and the patients are the ones that suffer. That's the scary thing. So it's just But I can see both sides, completely. So yes, I totally understand. Let's just say.
So, all right. Well, what else?
Can I do a plug-in?
Please do. Yes, we've got about 15 minutes left. So yeah, plug away, please.
Yes, please.
So my website is www.kansascityastrology.com. That's all one word. You can make an appointment through the calendar. If the calendar is blocked, just join the wait list and I get you in as soon as I can. And I'm available for astrology, tarot, and mediumship. Nice. So whatever one you're open to, I can answer your questions on any aspect of life, any question you have.
Very cool.
All right. Shameless self-promoting. So
no, please do.
I've actually put the link in a couple of different times in the chat. So
we appreciate you coming on tonight because we couldn't find a lot of people that wanted to come on tonight. So it was a very quiet night. So we really appreciate you doing this for us because I don't feel like talking. So it's like please, yes.
And thank you so much to the people in chat.
Yes,
the questions
awesome.
have been wonderful, and the interactions even better. So that's always makes it more funner.
Maybe we can get more people next week. And
yes.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good show. She sounds amazing. So yeah, that's going to be kind of cool.
What was sorry, her name is April, right?
Heather.
Heather, sorry. Okay.
That's okay. Heather Lynn. Lynn.
Okay. I was going to say we missed out on. We need a May if we're getting April.
Yes,
exactly right.
And then June.
Well, but the pretty Heather comes out in May, so yeah.
That's awesome.
Good.
Now, every time I think of evil archaeology, though, I think of the beginning of The Exorcist, when they are digging and where they're doing the dig, and then they find the little statue of the demon in the ruins, the beginning of The Exorcist. And
is it the same statue that's on the front of that book, Evil Archaeology?
I'm not sure. I have to look and see, but I think it's I think it's Zuzu.
Oh, okay. It's possible. I would have to.
I could be wrong too. Yeah, I'll have to look at the. Yes, I'll have to look. But I always think of that sign when all of a sudden they break through something, and then all the people are like, la 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 la, they're screaming and they're running away, and. Of course, that's the mummy too.
Outrun that.
Yeah. Of course, it's the same with the mummy. Like a lot of the locals, they're just like, you don't break the seal. If the seal says, if you pass this, if you break the seal, you will be cursed. And,
right.
So, but what do?
They break the seal.
Yes.
Or the plate, or the sigil, yeah.
But, I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, if I was an archaeologist, and, it's just one of those things. There is no way in the world I could not, not break the seal. If you're finding something that's over 2,000 years old and no one else has been in there, and, I can't just say, oh, sorry, it's a curse.
Maybe do a holy bath with some
little ritual
salts
protection,
and salts and the holy oils and everything. And put on one of those hazmat suits. And
exactly. Fill up the hazmat suit with salt and
drink a bunch of holy water. Yeah.
I have other friends will say, well, that's their resting place. They should be resting in peace. And I was like, I understand, but
I need to see.
Yeah, it's just a very strong dilemma.
Yes.
That
very much so.
They've rested enough.
If they're still hanging around haunting this place, there's something else wrong.
Yes, exactly.
We'll bring in our mediums to cross them over.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
yes,
that's scary.
Yeah.
Though. Now, for some reason, my head went to South America and the Incan and I think it's Incan and Mayan, the temples that they thought were just big hills and what have you that they're finding that are bigger than the
pyramids
bigger and older than the Egyptian pyramids.
Yes, it's amazing.
That's so cool. Yes,
it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they think some of the Incan pyramids, I say that that they found. It's like they didn't think it was. They thought they were pretty small, and then they start digging down and realize this thing is like another. Just because of time and weather, and then they find out it's a lot older than they thought, more than 2,000 years, like the Egyptian, 3,000 years, like the Egyptian, pyramids, and it's so amazing, just fascinating.
Completely, yes. That
history there. So, yes, I agree. That is something I thought, that'd be kind of cool to go and see, especially the Incan pyramids and things like that. But I'm like, well, don't you have to walk through a jungle for a while and there's lots of bugs?
Bugs, yeah.
And it's 120 degrees with 90% humidity. I was like, I don't know how well I'd fare with that.
You're boiling alive and the bugs are eating you at the same time. Yes. Yeah, parboiled people.
I will see if I can have Ross go through and FaceTime me, so it'll be like I am actually walking through.
Go.
So that's my goal.
Definitely, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to be amazed at these places that got buried for so long. Like, how does a city get buried?
Incredible. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, all it takes is just one big storm from Mother Nature.
Yep.
Big sandstorm, windstorm, landslide,
floods, the whole bit.
Volcano, from Pompeii,
Yeah.
Just seeing Pompeii in person was so incredible because, when I saw it in National Geographic when I was 12, I was just transfixed because I just thought there's, how could it come, can you find a civilization like that with still murals on the walls and things like that? But it was really incredible to see, and how big that place is. I wanted to stab somebody after, I think 6 hours walking in Pompeii. It was so hot, but it was amazing, but it was so hot and I walked so long and I was dusty and dirty, but it was incredible. And then I got too tired to go through the cemetery, and I was so mad because I wanted to see that so bad, and I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I was ready to stab someone. It's very sad.
Sounds very spiritual.
Yes, it's very spiritual. I wanted to leave my body so bad so I could at least see everything, but I just couldn't. I couldn't hardly move. It was all my strength just to walk back to the train station to go back to Naples. But it was incredible. But like I said, oh my God.
The pictures were amazing.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm so glad I saw it. But, actually, I would like to try it again, but I'd like to start with the cemetery.
Right, yep.
I want to just see that, and I want to sit more and, things like that, and just kind of enjoy it and not just try to see everything I can, because, I know I just want to see everything. And it's just like physically, I'm getting too old to see everything now. I need to pick and choose.
Yeah, that happens like right after 25, I think. So don't feel too bad. I mean, it's
And I'm giving myself a break because, I was like really harsh with myself and everything. And I'm just like, I'm giving myself a break here. I've, seen amazing things. And if I can't see everything, I don't need to.
Now, travel on the spooky side, does that cover your European trips and all of the fun stuff?
It does. Some of it, I had to like condense it down so much that it kind of hurt my heart because I'm like, oh my God, I have to keep it under an hour. It's just like, 3-hour presentations are not good. But you tell so many people about everything and all these different places and everything, and just want to share it with people, and especially if you've caught some, if I caught some evidence or EVPs and weird pictures and mists and things like that in some places. But it's like, June, you need to dwindle it down to the most fascinating places, and
June,
it's just
how do you make sure that you don't get an attachment when you go to these places?
I might have had I might have one. I actually had somebody at the last Oregon Ghost Conference tell me, take me aside and say, you have an attachment. But honestly, I didn't really feel like I did. And then that's when I started trying to be a lot more positive and upbeat and everything. And I don't know, it seemed like it might have helped. But I don't even know if I had one. But one thing I think is really important that I do is I'm always extremely respectful when I go to these places, and I make sure that they know that I'm just there to listen to them, to see if they have any messages they need to tell anybody. It's like, and I just try to be extremely respectful. And, it's like, if I do start feeling a little overwhelmed, I try to ground myself and imagine a white light, surrounding me and everything like this. And I just take a deep breath and, it's like, okay, I don't know what you're trying to do, but stop it. Thank you. And please stay where you're at. Don't follow me. And, you will not enjoy hitching a ride with me. Or if they do, I try to get them to jump off at Spooked in Seattle, which is part of the Seattle Underground. So
There you go.
we always try to have, as many spirits as possible down there. And just if they can have fun together, Or if they
it's nice
want
how those places really draw a lot of spirits.
And, we always say, if you want to leave, if you can leave, please leave. Don't feel like you're trapped down here. But, I think they're happy, and who knows if they are or not. Actually, I am psychic as a rock and not a crystal either. So, it's kind of sad.
Understood.
But, well, it looks like we have run out of time. But thank you again, Cindy, for being our guest.
My pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank you for having me on.
We would have had a little more publicity just about you.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, seriously.
And thanks to the guests with their wonderful questions. That was
Yes,
fun.
that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone in chat. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
And if you enjoyed the show, give us a like or follow us. Facebook, Mystic Moon Cafe Radio, our website, www.mysticmooncafe.com, or on Spreaker, Mystic Moon Cafe, or Mystic Moon Radio Network. We took the network back over, so there we are. And
yes. And I put a tab on our aghost.org page. So if you go to aghost.org, you can also find us there, and a link to the website. So it just takes you around.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank everybody so much. I guess I'll take us out with, how about the sound of silence?
Ooh, that sounds
Nice.
good. Disturbed?
Disturbed, of course.
Okay,
yes.
awesome.
All righty. Everyone have a great week. Please join us next Wednesday. It's going to be an awesome show, I'm positive. And we can talk to Cindy some more and June, we're going to miss you, but they'll be the next week.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
All
It's
right.
been a pleasure, Wendy and June.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Cindy.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement